I am the project manager here with Procurement Services. And so one of my roles here at Procurement was to help roll out eProcurement. So what is eProcurement? And so while Pamela gets set up there, what is eProcurement? eProcurement is basically a module that we implement or set on top of the already finance system, our financial system, right? So that you have the capability of bidding online, right? Viewing your invoicing, your payments, all of that online, right? It also allows you as the vendor to take control of your, your contact information, right? Who has access to your vendor code with the city, right? And then also getting them access to bid online. So that entails your address. You yourself can change your address, right? You yourself can update your phone number information or remove people that have left your company. So no longer will you be like, send us an email or some notification say, can you change this for us, right? We're going to put that back into your hands and you actually have the ability to update and change, right? How many in the room has a vendor or supplier code already? That means you have done business with the city before. Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you are on eProcurement? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. So we have a mixed one. So we're going to get started, and you ready? So again, as I said, eProcurement is basically an electronic way of doing business with the city now, and especially bidding on. So we're going to get away from the paper, like shuffling paper from desk to desk to desk. You giving us the paper, we review it, and we send it on. We allow you to do that online now. Okay? Now, what are some of the contract types that we have gone live with that you will no longer be able to submit papers for, right? Those contract types, as we call them, are construction, commodities, small orders, RFP, and RFQ. Now later on, within the month, I would say, we will be going live with work services and vehicles and heavy equipment. Okay, so within the month, look out for that announcement. Also, if you are individuals that deal with our task order, meaning MCA, you're in the pool of technology, right? We'll be going live with the task order where you could actually bid online for that. Okay, not for the MCA portion, but if you're part of that task order pool already, then you can start bidding online, and we're hoping by November for that. Okay, so again, we were charged with getting all of this online by year end, and so we're almost ready to meet our goal there. Okay, so what we're going to show you today is for those who already have a iSupplier account, and then for those who are new to iSupplier, we're going to go through. So bear with us. If you're already been online and registered and actually submit a bid, just bear with us on that. But we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable knowing about the system. Okay? All right. So what do you see here? What this is, we call this our microsite. And basically what we did with our microsite, we allow you as the vendor to go on and see what are the workshops such as this one. And then if you are one of those vendors that deal with our delegate agency department, you're able to see when their workshops or when they're training and when their bids or anything out there as well. Okay? So what we have here is how you log into registration, from current bids and solicitation opportunities to online training materials. What is online training materials? Basically what they are is video showing you step by step on what to do or how to do certain tasks or how to register, how to add someone, how to bid. step-by-step instructions in a video. You don't hear my lovely voice, but it's just a video showing you step-by-step on what to do, all right? We don't recommend this, but we also provided you a PDF version of that, and I'll show you that later on, where you can just view it. If you one of those people like me sometimes, gotta have a piece of paper in my hand to actually see, like, oh, this is what I need to do, then you can print it out. If not, we're gonna save the trees, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our login registration, okay? So for those vendors who actually have done business with the city before, right? That means you have a vendor number or supplier number. Then what you would do is, and then you're part of iSupplier already, right? You will click on login. However, for those vendors that are not part of iSupplier but needs to register up for iSupplier, you will click on register. Next screen. Oh, go back. Okay, click on register for me. All right, and so this is the screen you will come to, right? So for the vendors that, such as yourself, that has a supplier code, right? You need to get invited. Scroll down for me. You will need to get invited. So you will send us a request saying, request for iSupplier invitation. The reason why you want to do this is, one, you don't want to duplicate the vendor or supplier that's in our database. We have enough duplications in there. So you will send us a request for an iSupplier invitation because why? You have a supplier code already, okay? Now, if you are one of those vendors, and you know this, that have multiple supplier numbers, please provide us with a supplier number that you will want to use, that you will use from here on out. So we have a lot of suppliers that's in there multiple times, right? And what we often hear is that, oh, I can't see this transaction, or I can't see this contract. Well, the reason being is because you have 2 or 3 or 4, I've seen many as 5 supplier codes in there, and they're under different numbers. And so if you know that you have multiple supplier numbers, you want to keep this as your primary number, then you let us know, and we'll keep that, okay? We don't want to do the choosing for you, because then once we merge your supplier number with all the other ones, so we'll get rid of the other ones, then we can't unmerge it, okay? So we don't want to have egg in our face because we're going to choose for you and you're like, no, that's not what I wanted. Then we want you to supply us with that information, okay? So again, if you know you have multiple numbers, supplier codes, please let us know which one you're going to use, okay? So, now for those who have never done business with the city, meaning that you don't have a supplier code at all, then you will self-register. Now, what we would need on that is we will need your W-9, okay? So please provide us with that information so that way we won't go back and forth and delay us registering or approving your registration, okay? So again, if you've never done business with the city, and this is the way to go because we're going electronic, you will register, okay? For the ones that has a supplier or vendor code already and not in iSupplier, you'll request for iSupplier invitation. Now, in previous workshops, there have been questions such as, can I use my same code as CHA or CPA or something like to that effect? And the answer is no. We're a different entity, okay? So this is only for City of Chicago. Okay? All right. So now that you got your username and ID, right? You reset your password, you went in and checked all your transaction, and it goes back to whenever you did business with the city, goes all the way back. You can look at all that information. Now that you got all that, put all your users in your account, on your account, verified your address and all that, right? Now you want to see, what does the city have out there that I can bid on, right? So how do we do that? Well, we go to our next tab, which is current bid and solicitation opportunity. Now, on this tab, you will find three things. You will find electronic bidding, which is at the top, right? So those are all e-bidding, right? You'll also see that it says pre-bid, pre-submittal conference attendees. You will see a PDF of all the pre-bid attendee list there after all of our pre-bid or pre-submittal conference within probably 24-hour period, okay? Then, because we haven't gone live with everything yet, right, you will see our non-e-procurement. That means our paper bid, okay? So you will see a list of things that we still have out there as far as paper, okay? So we're going to focus on our electronic bid. So we're going to click on that e-procurement bid opportunity. It brings you up to our abstract page. What is our abstract page? Basically, our abstract page is just a high level of what is out there for you to bid on, right? It tells you the department, the event, and then the event here tells you is just contract type, right? So you can see it's commodity, construction, and so forth and so on, right? Then you see our solicitation number, right? The solicitation number is very, very important because you will need that number to go out when you log into the iSupplier portal to bid. This is the number you will use to bid. Now, as you can see, some of our solicitation number has a comma behind it. What does that mean? The comma means that we, as a city, issue an addendum or clarification or system, right? The system handle it all the same, so you will see a comma 1, comma 2, 4, 5, or what have you, right? So we know at any bidding opportunity, it's going to be at least one addendum. Why? Because that's how we communicate with you as far as the question, the Q&A, right? So we put together all our questions and answers, and we put it as an addendum, so you at least have one addendum per solicitation, okay? Now, if we change something like extend the date out, that'll be addendum number 2, and so forth and so on. So anything that we do, then you will be notified, granted, that you're on our takeout list, right? Sorry. How do we get on our takeout list? And I'll show you that in a minute. But I just wanted to make mention of what the number is outside the, behind the comma, okay? You'll have your specification number, the title. Now, in the title, you always have your specification number, okay? You have the very important dates as far as your advertisement date, supplier's response start date, supplier response due date. Those dates are basically when I can start bidding and when I can start, when it stops, right? It's basically as soon as it hits the street, when it advertises, you can start bidding, and then when it stops is the bid opening day, okay? Now, we've seen this several times now. We have a lot of vendors wait to the last minute, and then the system kicks them or locks them right out. So at 10:59, the system will lock you out and will not accept your bid. So please go in often, save often, and submit. Okay? Please do not wait till the last minute. Okay. We've seen this several times already. Okay? And then you have your deadlines for questions here. Now, how do you see the other details about the particular spec you want to bid on? You click on the detail icon. Click on it. Right? And so for here, we have the ready mix, right? Bidding contract. You'll click on the PDF, and then depending upon your system, right, it may take anywhere up to 5 minutes. We tested this on Starbucks Wi-Fi with a construction, and you know, construction has a lot of drawings and big plans and all that. It took almost 5 minutes. So, and it had like 1,300, 1,400 pages. So depending upon your speed or your system, and dictates how fast it comes up. Did you click it already? Please do. Are there any questions so far before we go on to how to actually bid? Really?
Like if there's an addendum to change the due date, right, that'll automatically reflect on my due date.
No. So the question is, anyway, I can't remember right now, but the question is, if an addendum is issued and you push the date out, would it automatically reflect on the abstract page? I believe so. The initial date will, the new due date will be shown there, but also because you went in and acknowledged our terms and conditions, you would be notified of the new due date as well. So it's spinning. Okay. So this is basically the bid opportunity, right? So it gives you exactly what we're bidding, what's being asked of you, right? Who the specialist is, again, the important question dates that you need to make note of, and so forth and so on. We also have the fillable forms or as an attachment down at the bottom of this, and so you're able to print those out or save them, fill them out on your computer, save them, and then attach them later on. Okay, so please be mindful of what the specialist or the city is requiring of you. Right? So now you say, hey, this is something I believe I could provide to the city. I want to bid on it. How do I do that? So we're going to minimize this. Go ahead and minimize. All right, and we're going to go and log in. Click on log in. You're going to bring up the Garnet. So go ahead and type in. So this is just a dummy vendor that we use all the time. So you can see that this particular vendor, has bid on pretty much everything we have out there. So what we do actually, we use this vendor in all our pre-bid, our pre-submittal conference, and we actually go step by step on what you would actually see as a vendor. So we don't use the fake data. We actually use the particular bid or RFP that you will actually see when you get back to your office. Okay. You can teach the class, right? No? All right. So here is your landing page. And what you see on your landing page is City of Chicago iSupplier portal with invoice creation. Under that tab is where you will actually find all contracts you were ever awarded with the city, or your invoicing, or your payments, the payment status. So no longer you be like, hey, when do we get paid? Blah, blah, what's the status of this? It will tell you where things are, if we waiting for something from you or the user partner. It'll tell you that, okay? You also have the ability to go in under your admin tab, right? And then add various users, right? Who you want to have access to your portal, right? So this came up and previous workshop in pre-bid. So if I started the bidding opportunity, my electronic bid, can someone else finish it in my organization? The answer to that is no. So no two people, person, kid work on one bid. Okay? Now, someone from your organization, say the president, just want to get all the notifications about the bid, we've seen that, or they just log in and accept the terms and conditions, so any notification that we send out, they get as well. You can do that, okay? But whoever started it can finish it, or should finish it, okay? All right, so again, this is where you would change your, update your address, add individuals, so forth and so on. Okay. So let's go back home. Let's go to City of Chicago online bidding, sourcing, and then sourcing home page. This is where you actually start your bidding. Now, here is where you landed, or you will land on your bidding page, right? What do you see here? You see that I have a response, right, in my left-hand corner, and then the status. The status is very, very, very important. Why? So draft status, what does that mean? Draft status means that you did one or two things. You went in, accept the terms and conditions, and then you just saved it. You did nothing, right? Or you went in, accepted terms and conditions, and then you went to bid. So you start attaching the required documents, right? You put in your numbers, and then you weren't quite ready to submit your bid yet, right? So you saved it. That's draft, okay? The next status you see here, right? Resubmission is required. What does that mean? That means you went in, you submitted a bid, the city issued an addendum, right? They made some type of change and they want you to know about it. You have to go back in, acknowledge that addendum or clarification or whatever it is, acknowledge that to change your status to active. That's what you want to see. You always want to see an active status. That means you actively submitted a bid to the city. Okay? Question? No? Okay. All right. So again, if you had active before, or draft before, and we issue an addendum or clarification, it's going to require you to resubmit. Okay? And so that's what you want to see. You want to see active at all times. All right? Okay. All right, so how do we bid? Oh, I got 11 days on here. So that solicitation number that I said keep in mind and keep track of, where do we go? See, it says search option. Go ahead and change that to number. And then you're going to type in that solicitation number. Yeah, from the PDF. So what was it? Go to your header. So 6121. And then you hit go. All right, so here is what it will look like, right? So you have your solicitation. You're going to click on select.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
As you're speaking to the vendors, when you say that if they add a person to the contact list, and that person wants to be notified when amendments or addendum clarifications come up, all they have to do is hit this response button right here?
No, I should be in a minute. So Pamela was asking that if she wants a clarification on what I said earlier. So if your president wants to get notified of any addendum to amendment, would they just need to click on this response button? And the answer is no. So I'm going to show you how they get that notification. So go ahead. Nope. You hit response. Respond. Yep. Okay. So this is our terms and condition. As you can see, the accept is divvied out. All right. Let's scroll down to the bottom. After you read it, of course, read our lovely terms and conditions now. You know, you're going to select that you have read it, right? And now you get the accept button. So let's go ahead and hit accept. So once you do that, even your president who don't want to bid, and they go in, once they do that, you're on our takeout list. Okay? All right. You don't have to go any further. If you just want to say, see what's going on, what your what the city is sending out, we can do that. You'll get notified via that. Okay? So now what we want to do, we're going to add attachments. Now, what are the attachments? The attachments are those required documents like your EDS, your insurance certificate, so forth and so on, right? That needs to be attached to your bid. Okay? How do we attach it? Scroll up now. All right? Go ahead and click on Add Attachment. All right? So the title, in your title, your attachment should begin with spec, S-P-E-C, right? The spec number, right? Can you write it out? Spec. The word spec. Colon. And then the spec number, right? And then what you are attaching. EDS, insurance certificate. So it should read like, let's put EDS. Should read like that, okay? And then you go, excuse me, you go on your computer and find your attachment and then attach it. Now, if you are attaching more than one document at a time, you click on Add Another. But if you want to just attach one document and then go ahead to your requirement, you can do that as well. You'll hit on Apply. All right? So we're not going to attach anything, but I just want to show you what that looks like. Go ahead and hit Cancel. Let's scroll down. So, this is the requirement section. What is the requirement section? Basically, the requirement section is your checklist. It's saying that, yes, I attached this. Yes, I'm doing that. No, I didn't attach this because this doesn't apply to me, right? That's what this requirement section is. Now, in other workshops, we had a question saying, hey, does it validate with what you're attached? And the answer is no. This is the system we have. But, of course, so we strongly urge and recommend that whatever you attach and whatever you said yes to, that you make sure so that's where the naming convention comes in at, right? That yes, I did the insurance certificate. Oh, it's in there. Yes, I did the local affidavit, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's in there. So you do your checks and balances that way. Okay? All right. So what do you do in the requirement section? Again, it's yes or no. So go ahead. So while Pamela is doing yes or no, and again, this is fictitious data for this fake company, of course, you would do something totally different, right? So while she's doing that, I can answer any questions you may have. No questions?
Quick.
I mean,
attach the number. Is that, can you give me some guidance on that? How is the number get generated? Is that something you self-generate or?
No, you're talking about the specification number? Oh, great question. No. So let's can you bring up the PDF for me? There, yes. So the specification number will always be in your document, and as well as on the abstract page. Remember, I was like, oh, this is solicitation, this is the specification. So it always be there. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Let me, want to introduce.
Yeah, sure.
The mic.
Sorry,
Thank you.
use my reach. I think she was next to,
She.
going down the list, when you said it's not applicable, I just said no, and that's okay.
Just it, no. Yes, that is correct.
And all the way at the top where it's referring to the questions, do we have to type anything in there?
Let's see, what question? I'm so sorry.
Right there, the second section where it says bidder questions?
Oh, so right there, you would just write none.
None, we have to write something in
Yeah,
there
you
though.
have to. So the requirements section, something, it must be filled out. Something must be there. I'm sorry. You know what? Let me turn this down. Still one to the right. Up, to the right. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can get it. Can y'all hear me? Okay. All the way to the left?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just can't go close to her.
I know, but it's still, I feel a little loud. I'm gonna get the mic from her.
Oh wait, I have another question.
Oh, sure.
And then when you were referring to the addendum, I know you said that, you go back and you hit resubmission.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anywhere else on this page that we have to acknowledge the addendum? And do we have to attach the addendum to show you that we did see it?
No. So once you acknowledge, accept it, then I'll show you what that looks like. Then you are able to go forward in the process, right? So if you never acknowledge or accept the addendum or clarification, that's it. You can't go further. You can't submit your bid. You can't, even if your bid says resubmission. Can you hear me without that? I'm sorry. Even if it says, I don't know, but it's so, even if it's in draft or what have you, well, it won't even be in draft, you can't move forward until you accept that or acknowledge that addendum, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. It's just the last thing right there. I don't think it's standing in one place. Okay. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
If you've attached several documents and then you don't remember what you've attached, are you able to go back and review?
Absolutely. So, all you have to do is click on the link itself. So once you attach a document, it becomes a link line, and so you click on it and you can view it as to what you attach. Okay. Are there any other questions?
If you don't why is documents, does it automatically write it down?
No. Again, it doesn't validate that you attached anything. It's just that you have, as a vendor, have to do your due diligence and make sure that it is attached. Okay? Sure. Thank you. So EDS. So you have to go out there on our EDS website. Everyone knows what that is. Where to go? Okay, we can show you that in a minute. So everyone, if you're potentially going to do business with the city, you win the bid or what have you, even before you won the bid, we want to know who has the power of your company and if you're getting city dollars. So you have to disclose that in any other partnership that you have. So that's basically what the EDS is. And so I'll show you the link as to where to go do your EDS. You will take that EDS because it's going to give you a certificate, right? This is where our department will be looking for, right? And then you print out that certificate or save it, right? Enter that number here. You're going to have an EDS number, and then you're also going to attach it, okay? So again, I'll show you what that is in a minute, okay? So scroll down. Save this, Pam. Save as draft. Because now, as you can see here, she just saved it. You have the next 26 to 29. So go ahead and click on the next. Scroll down. Until you get to your next 26 to 29. Did you do all of them?
I did.
You did. Okay. Now you answered or select, put a value in on your requirement. So you'll go up, say it again. You'll go up to your lines tab. Click on lines.
Question is,
Sorry.
Oh, no, I can, so if she puts no in her requirement, it's not, it's still gonna let her go to the next step?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
she had put all yes,
I did put all yes.
Yeah.
We oftentimes, we do put yes, no, but I did put all yes. So if it doesn't apply to you, then of course you're no.
Okay.
Again, this is just big data. So just to show you how to actually fit. Now these are the lines, right? You want to put your values in there. How do we do that? We clearly don't want to go on the system one by one, adding that value. Don't want to do that. So we have this feature because I believe, and we picked the wrong one. We did. I believe this has over 300 lines, which you probably will get or see, right? So how do we enter the values without going next 25, next 25? See that says quote by spreadsheet. How do we do that? Go ahead and click on that. You will select the third option, tab delimited. Right? It says type lines, right? You hit on export. Click on export. You do a save as. Save it to the desktop. Yeah. And hit save. Save. Okay, don't open it. Close it out. You will minimize this. Go ahead and minimize the left line. Yes. All right. Close that out. All right. So now what we want to do is we're going to open up Microsoft Excel. So double click on that. It's on the desktop. So we're going to minimize that for a quick moment. But however you want to do it, but these are your steps. And you see on your desktop or wherever you save it, it's a zip drive, right? So go ahead and double click on that folder that says response. Yeah, right there. Okay? So you're going to take the first exported line and drag it onto your desktop. So just grab it and drag it. Grab it.
I need
Just-
it now.
So you can't open it. Just drag it. Just drag it. Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna have file. Go ahead and click on file. and then open. Go to your desktop where you saved it. To your left, no, to your left. Yes. And then you're going to change your type, right, to say all, because it's not an Excel yet. So file and hit all file types, right? So scroll down till you see your document. Come on, there it is. See it? Export here. Click on it and then hit open. So you accept all the defaults just by hitting next, next, next. Just hit next. And finish. And here's your line. Got it? Alright. So here is where you will put in all your pricing in here. 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 Yes. So go ahead and put a value there. So 1 doesn't matter. Drag it all the way down till you finish with group A. Grab that end here. You grab it. Scroll it, yes, there you go. And then when you get to group B, just so you drag it all the way down, but for you, you'll enter a value that correlates to what you want to bid on, right? Yeah, just go all the way down, but what you're going to do actually, in where it says the word group, you're going to remove that value. So what she's doing is she's just taking the easy route, just doing 1 all the way down, which is great. But with you, be careful with the line that says group A, group B, group C, don't put a value there. So she has to go back and remove the 1 from that. But all the other lines, then you put your 1, or whatever your value may be. Now, when you import it back in there, right, the system will do your calculations for you. Right? So, but you won't see your calculation go back up. Yeah. The 3/3, yeah. Okay. So go back into your where it says
Right here.
where it says group in, say 320. Take the value out. So you have to go back to group O, wherever it says group with the letter, take that value out. Because you're not bidding on that group header. You're just bidding on the lines up under the group header. Okay? So while she does that, so again, the system will calculate for you. Not on the lines tab, unfortunately. However, when you go to the next continue, then it will give you your grand total of your bid. Okay? So we'll wait till she gets to where she needs to be.
Say you made a mistake and you accidentally had a value in that line, would it like
It will
create an
error. It will
for you?
create an error. It will create an error. So the question is, what if you make a mistake and put a value there? Now, on the system itself, it may not accept it, but it may not accept your whole import. So make sure that you don't put a value there, because the header is not highlighted in the system. It's just accessible here on your spreadsheet. Okay? Whew. Almost there, Pam?
I know. I'm at Z. Usually for our workshops, we choose something that has 1 line.
God,
But
not
you
330.
We set up late, and so, you know.
Yeah. So we
So
grab
now
the,
we're giving you a real experience.
yeah. So we try not to be in production. And unfortunately, we're in production. And the reason being is because this particular bid is going to have a bid opening and pre-bid, and then I have nothing to really show them on how to bid from the very beginning. What I will show them now is how to update their bid, right? Acknowledging those addendums and things of that nature. So it's okay. Oh yeah, I don't know what you did. Me neither. So just keep going. Pick it up. We got a couple things to show them. We want to show them EDS where that page is, and then yeah. If you have any problems while she's doing that, please, it's a link on our microsite that says help, right? If you run into any technical issues, please send us a screenshot of what problems you're having so we can get right back to you with a solution, okay? Again, do not wait to the very last minute. We have people monitoring this mailbox 24, but Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, we don't do Saturdays and Sundays, but we will definitely get back to you that Monday if you run into any issues. So that's why we don't do bid opening, bid due dates towards the weekend. We want to make sure that you have ample enough time to get that bid in. Okay? So again, if you have any issues, please send us a screenshot and let us know, and then we definitely will get back to you. Either a phone call or we'll shoot an email right back to you. Okay? Again, we use this fictitious vendor often, so that way we know what you actually see as well. You know, so if we did, we wouldn't have any idea, although I was helped part of the design, I had no idea what you actually see on there. Okay, so we want to make sure that, because sometimes you guys come up with some doozies of problems like, what? I thought I test the possible problems, but definitely see that. Let us know. Okay. All right, they're done? Yeah. Okay. Just hit file. Don't worry about it. So hit file and save as. So this is what you'll save it as. You'll leave the type as is. And what I do, or what I would recommend, but it's clearly up to you, I will put hyphen and then answer or response right after. So that way, depending on how many you bid on, you know which one, which bid you're responding to, the response you put, right? So you might have 10, but you don't know the RFQ number. So again, that's just a suggestion, and now you just put response. Okay. All right, so we're going to save it on our desktop. Hit yes to this question. So now we're going to minimize it, Pam. Go ahead and minimize it for me. All right. Minimize this. We're good. We're finished with this. Then bring up your Internet Explorer. Don't worry about it. Go to Internet Explorer. All right. You go back to your quote. Yes. Right there. Yes. Click on it. All right. So maximize it. All right. So now we want to import it back. How do we do that? Click on Tab Delimited again, right? Browse, it comes up line. So we're going to browse, right? We go scroll down to we see response right there. And hit open. Now import. And there's my values. Okay? It took a little while, but that's your values. Now, to get the total, right? The grand total of your bid, what do? You go ahead and click on continue. Go ahead, go up. You know why? It's on the requirement section, that 26 to 29, I didn't think we even answered that, but that's what you'll get if you hadn't put a value in any of those, all right? So it says, hey, you didn't put a value here. The good thing we don't have it on the line, so you have to go to that line, but we know what this is. This is actually all in the header of the requirement. So let's save as draft right now. Go to your header tab. Scroll down. Keep going. And then do your next 26 to 29. There they are. Scroll down. Now you can put a value there. Okay? So that's it. The system will alert you and say, hey, you're missing something. You didn't answer that question. Let's save it. Save often. You know how fickle computers are, right? Save often. Save as draft. You should get it. And so you have that. Now click on continue. Scroll to the middle of the section. And here is my, stop here. Here is my quote. All right? And then these are your values in the calculated order. Any questions about this? No? You're good? Okay. Now, I don't want to submit this, but I'm going to show you where to put your signature. Right? Scroll down. Now, here is where you would submit your signature. This saying that you submitted this bid. To the best of your ability, your knowledge, it is accurate, no false, no lowballing, no. But to the best of your ability, this is what you did. Okay? All right, and as you can see, the submit is divvied out. Now, if you wanted to print your answers or what you provided, you do a printable view. Right now, I just want to save it as draft. So just save it as draft. I don't want to submit it. So I'm going to go, hit continue, updating, go home. This, yeah. So the reason why I'm going home is because we didn't think of it. We didn't think to say, hey, if you do save as draft, take me back to my landing page. You have to go home and go out. So I think someone asked me like notification and acknowledgement of clarification and addendum earlier, right? So not only if you get it in your email, right? You get it on your first page of your work list. So it would say you sent your message. It would say acknowledge this addendum. You can click on this in your work list as well. All of that will happen here as well. Okay? Let's go back to our searching homepage. All right? And as you can see, what we was working on is what was it? Yeah, okay. It's in draft. Because why? I didn't submit it. So I didn't want to submit it. Hopefully, I think their pre-bid is coming, so I want to show them something else. Now, required resubmission. Go ahead and click on that solicitation number. 32.
Oh, not this one?
Required resubmission, 3212. You could have went back to negotiations on that one. So 3212. Go ahead and click on that. So I think it closed already. So had it not closed, right, you would have had a box here that says accept that addendum or accept, acknowledge, and then have where you accept it. Because this one's closed already, and yeah, it's closed. So me as a play vendor didn't have an active bid. I missed out because I but never acknowledge that before it closed. So please acknowledge all amendments and clarification before the close date, because as you can see, it will not allow you to do so after, because there's no limit. Okay? All right. So, again, help. This is all where you will email us if you have any problems, those screenshots, anything that we need to address. And then I want to show you, and then this is the, go ahead and click on it, online training materials that I was speaking of, stating how to do whatever it is. If you click on the title itself, that's the PDF, but if you click on the video, it actually shows the video with no voice. You don't want to hear my voice. And then I'm going to show you where to get your EDFs, right? Can we try it for a minute? My apologies for sitting down, because I don't mind sitting down during class. So it is actually on our webpage, cityofchicago.org and procurement. And then you can type in EDF. They just updated our webpage, so some of these things I don't even know where they are. Yes, right here. And this is where you will go to get started. For your online EDS. And you would definitely register. Now, we do have online EDS training as well on how to get registered. So please, I think we still have that class coming up. Please look at your, I think Jacqueline handed out additional trainings that we may have. Okay. Yes.
Actually submit the, do you get an email notification or anything that it was received?
Great question. No. So we don't get anything. So
Repeat the question.
okay. So the question is, do we as the city get a notification? Okay. So you as a vendor will not get a notification. Your receipt is actually the response number onto the side. So it's on your dashboard or your landing page. That's your receipt of your bid.
Okay.
Okay? So when the time comes for the bid opening, then and only then the city can see your bid. Not until then. So no one else is able to see your bid. All right? During this entire process until the bid opening. And then again, the city, at that time, we get to unlock it and view your bid and just at bid opening read out the value of your bid. Other than that, we're not able to see anything. Sure.
Say you submit your bid like an hour before closing, and you realize there was a mistake or want to make a change. Are you able to do that?
Yes. Great question. So, can you make changes to your bid? You say you want to make changes. You can make as many changes as you want up until the bid opening day. 10:59. Don't do it 10:59 though. But up until that time. So you can make as many changes as you want. Okay. Yes, sir. Oh, you want to do it?
If you've submitted your bid, and then there's some amendments or addendums, after that, how do you know? How are you informed?
You informed by your email that you get. So once you register or what have you, it's going to ask you for your email, right? Once you accept your terms and conditions and you acknowledge that you accept the terms and conditions, you're on our takeout list and you get notified. So every addendum, clarification, you will know that.
So I know you mentioned this earlier. Our specific iPortals, our county is the one who has the main access to it, and they added me in particular. If I were to start the solicitation and accept it, towards the end for the signature, the president is the one who has to sign it, correct?
that's your business process. So if you're in, you logged in, and your president wants to sign and put their signature, that's clearly up on you. But
Even though it's under mine,
yeah,
login,
we're
is
just
that,
looking for a name, like who, president, you know that you provided these numbers for this bid, is fine.
okay, and then also our main person who is involved, who has like that main screen like you do, he's leaving the company, so if I have his login information, I can put the new employee in
Yes. Yeah.
through
So
the
from
main page.
from the main page. So from an IT, this is my IT hat now. You should never share your password and username and all that, but you know. But yes, you can do that. And actually, if you have that and he's leaving, please add yourself. Add yourself and other people. Just like EDS, we get this all the time. The EDS captain has left the organization and they're no longer, and they can't do an EDS. So we strongly recommend or encourage that you put more than one person as the EDS captain because, hey, they might hit the lottery and be like, I'm out. And then what you going to do? So we had that to happen where an EDS, a bid is due, the person is on vacation out the country, we can't do anything. We can't just remove them and then put you. So we strongly suggest that you have more than one EDS captain. Okay, just like here, we strongly encourage you have more than one person just in case someone leaves, then someone else is there, and then they can add on.
I have another like two-part question.
Sure.
With the attachments,
Yes.
Do you keep everything separate, like your scheduled C and D, should that be like a separate attachment?
Yes.
Okay, but
Unless,
would you
hold
put the
on.
whole group of scheduled Cs together?
Well, let me take that back. So, depend upon the specialist request. So, I would say yes today. However, it's strongly encouraged that you come to the pre-bid because they may give out a different instruction. So, I know for RFP, we just had one, right? And they have like 5 different groups. They wanted all the documents in 5 different groups. So everything as Schedule C, D, A, whatever they're asking for, in 5 different groups. So it depends upon the specialist and the user department on how they, but for the most part, they're asking for it to be separated out.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, and then say you you submitted it and you changed your bid and your Schedule C is affected. Can you reattach the new schedule?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can remove it,
You can
and then
remove the old
you
one.
can remove it and then attach another one.
Okay.
Yes.
This isn't the EDS question.
Sure.
Okay. I had a contract with the city. It's a new contract, and they told me I need a new certificate. In the EDS, do I create a new EDS?
Yes.
Go and create a new-
Yeah.
Do I have to ask for a new invitation or anything, or
Yes.
I have to start completely?
Start new. Yeah. Now, the great thing is because if it's less than a year or what have you, all that information that you previously put in is going to roll over. You're just going to update that information containing to that matter, to that new contract. But all your partners or whoever, that 7.5% or whatever, that still will come over.
But I'll be able to create a new certificate?
Yes. Yes. Please provide what they ask. But yes, it'll say create new. Don't do information update. Create new contract.
And then that's when you send me like, will you send me something, an invitation or anything like that?
Not me per se, but whoever's the applicant and then the ownership structure, they will send you an invitation. Yes. Yes.
So with the attachments, it doesn't matter what order it's in.
No.
Okay.
No. Not at all.
Okay.
It's just basically making sure that you have it based on what you checked off in the requirements. That what you said yes to in the requirements.